So now we have...
My name is Jimmy.
Jimmy Chan. So again, we're going to kick things off for this session. We have 3 of our BA students who are going to go first. So they have the really quick presentations.
I have around 20 slides, and I will cover it in 5 minutes, so I'll try my best.
Okay, so we're gonna let Jimmy get going. One more thing, though, if you are watching us online at home, please send us an email or a tweet so we know you're out there. We'd like to say hello. And with that, Jimmy, you can get started.
Can you hear me? Loud enough, or is this good? Okay. So my name is Jimmy, and I am from the BA program. I did my practicum at S.U.C.C.E.S.S in Vancouver, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I did during the past few months. Okay, S.U.C.C.E.S.S was initially founded in 1973 for the purpose of assisting new Canadians of Chinese descent to overcome language and cultural barriers in the Vancouver area. Today, the organization has evolved into a multicultural social service agency with its focus on settlement, employment, seniors, housing service, and much more. Over the years, its focus on the Chinese population has emerged onto newcomers of Canadians, regardless of ethnicity. For the organization I worked at, we rely heavily on volunteers on many activities. Being in the office most of the time, administrative support volunteers help day-to-day tasks such as customer service and handling of paperwork. Being constantly short-staffed at the office, volunteers can ease up the workload and contribute their share and effort into their organization. Without volunteers, many nonprofit organizations becomes very difficult to operate. Okay. During the past few months, I was placed in the community service department working as a volunteer development assistant on a wide range of duties. One key area I was interested in was the recruitment and retention of volunteers, because many organizations are having difficulties retaining volunteers and keeping a healthy level of volunteers for their organization. Being in a nonprofit organization, limited resources are stretched to a point that sometimes we may have to sacrifice one thing for another. Keeping existing volunteers loyal to the organization while putting resources onto new volunteers becomes a difficult task. The cost of volunteers. Recruiting, training, and retaining volunteers does not come free. Hosting a new volunteer orientation, providing printed materials, and providing training to volunteers can add up to the budget quite quickly. Why do people volunteer? That's a really good question. During the past few months in our organization, I have observed 2 different types of applicants. The first categories are individuals who are looking to commit certain hours for graduation. For example, in BC high school, you require 30 hours of community service in order to graduate. The second categories are mostly seniors with lots of free time, and they would like to give back to the community. A majority of the volunteers at S.U.C.C.E.S.S are at the age of under 30, which includes high school students and post-secondary students. And there seems to be a huge gap between seniors and students because, as you can see, there's a gap, and that is that's the professionals and the workforce. These employ professionals such as accountants, teachers, nurses, and others are rarely seen volunteering at the organization. To figure out why volunteers come and go, we have to consider these questions. And there are 2 types of volunteers, 2 types of surveys distributed to volunteers. Today I'll be talking about the volunteer satisfaction survey. The layout of the survey was developed on a Likert type scale with the following: strongly disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. Here is an example of the volunteer satisfaction survey. The use of performance metrics. Performance metrics are important factors that is used to measure if service targets are met. These informations are very important to stakeholders and funders to determine if things are being done properly. And this is an example of how surveys are tallied up and analyzed. The survey has been designed to be short and easy, with only 7 questions. Usually in a smaller group setting, the response rate is 100%. But however, for a larger setting, a response rate cannot be guaranteed because we don't have enough people to collect, and they just usually take the survey and go back home, and we don't have any clue what happened to it. Okay. What worked out well? Volunteer satisfaction surveys provide background information on what is needed for improvements. Okay, I'll just okay, I'll just go quickly. Even though we're able to acknowledge the situation, trying to train and manage several hundred volunteers for a one-time event did not prove to be cost-effective. And in summary, volunteer satisfaction surveys can provide instant feedback on how volunteers feel about an event. Many for-profit and non-profit organizations are using satisfaction surveys as data collection method that is used to improve service and program delivery. To get a better understanding of the volunteer's ultimate goal, we must find out what does a volunteer try to, what is their purpose of volunteering. And volunteers must feel engaged in meaningful work in order to become loyal to their organization. And that is it.
Thank you, Jimmy. Because we are now getting a little pressed for time, I'm afraid Jimmy doesn't get any questions, which maybe he's glad for.
I'm looking for questions of anyone.
In the break, yeah. So next up,